Hello everyone. There is a saying which says that imagination creates reality. Whatever we have thought earlier, it is possible with the help of softwares and machines. Right? Whatever has been thought earlier, it has come to real life or reality now with the help of softwares. The reason to quote this is that everything is possible provided we know the proper knowledge of the software, of course with the help of the programming. The topic that we are going to take today is control statements. Before this chapter, whatever chapters that we have seen with respect to C++, it was a foundation for us to go further. Initially we have seen just like whenever we are framing a sentence, initially we will learn alphabets, then the words, then simple sentences, then the complex sentences. Similarly, we have seen the basic building blocks of programming in C++. After that is the structure of C++ we have seen, then which are the different elements that comes in C++ we have seen, then different data types we have seen. After that, how to use the input statements, how to use output statements we have seen. Moving further, today we are going to study about control statements. What is the control statement? In order to understand the control statement, let us look into a simple, let's just try to understand. Suppose we consider this as a page. This as a page. In a page, we will be having many lines. If you are going through a page, how we are going to read it? We will start from the beginning. We will read this particular line. Then once we reach the end of the line, then we will come to the beginning of the second line, that will be read. Then third line, fourth line, fifth line, etc. till the last line of that particular page. So starting from the beginning, we will come towards the end of the page in this order. Right? Line by line we are going to read it, which is called as sequence. The topic that we are going to have today is the control statements. How the control will be transferred whenever we are executing a particular program. If you consider this as the statements in the program now, earlier of course we were comparing it with the particular page, need not be a programming. Here also we may follow the same. If we follow this particular order, it's called a sequence, right? Today we will look into the different types of control statements. Now before that, what is a control statement? Control statement is a statement which alters the flow of execution. The statement, control statement can be defined like this: a statement which alters the flow of execution is called as control statement. That means it need not be in this particular order, right? After executing the first line, we may not transfer the control to the beginning of the second line. It may be transferred somewhere else. Okay. So once again, control statements are those statements which can alter the flow of execution of the program. One more thing here. See, when we talk about the statements, we can have two types of statements. One is simple statement, the other one is complex statement. When we talk about the simple statement, what type of statement is called as a simple statement? An input statement or output statement like cin and cout, or wherever we are having some initialization or simple calculation comes under simple statement. Simple statement of course will be having semicolon after that particular statement. So input statement, output statement, initialization, etc. comes under simple statement. Then complex statement. Sometimes also we call it as a block. A set of statements separated by semicolon and enclosed within floor brackets. Is called as a block or a compound statement. So two types of statement, simple statement and a complex, also called as block sometime. So the set of statements are separated by semicolon and enclosed within the floor brackets are called as a block. Okay. Now coming to different types of control statements. Mainly we have two types. They are called as selection and iteration. Selection and iteration. Sequence of course already we have seen, executing the statements one after the other from the beginning till the end is called as sequence. Now coming to the control statements, we have selection and iteration. So when we talk about different types of statements, sequence also comes in, but when we talk about control statements which alters the flow of execution, we will concentrate on selection and iteration, because when we talk about sequence, it doesn't alter the flow of execution. Lines of code will be executed one after the other from the beginning till the end, right? But here there is a difference. Selection. As the name suggests, selection, we are going to execute a set of statements, not all, a set of statements based on something, either this one or that one. That's why the name selection. When we come across selection, for example, selecting a dress out of two dresses, we are going to select one, not the both, right? Similarly here, either one set of statements or the other set of statements. Iteration is something where we are going to execute same set of statements again and again. Okay. Now coming to the selection. Now in detail we shall go through that, selection and iteration. In selection there are different types of statements, we will go through that. Similarly under iteration, here also we have different types of iteration statements. One by one we shall see that. When you talk about selection, here we have simple if, second one if else, third one nested if, and fourth one switch. Again, when we talk about nested if, there are two types. In detail we shall see that later. Now one by one we shall see. All these are important for us. Any one will be asked for 3 marks or 5 marks. We have to explain that with the syntax. Now we know what's meant by syntax. So again, under selection we have simple if else, nested if and switch. Coming to the simple if, these are the points that we need to remember because this will be used throughout the programming. Coming to the if or a simple if, simple if is also called as one-way branch. One-way branch. Every control statement will be having its own syntax. Syntax in the sense the rules we have to follow when we are using that particular statement. Here the syntax will be, question will be asked, give the syntax of if or simple if. Syntax: if expression, or sometimes expression can be written as condition also, expression, statement, statement semicolon. If expression, statement semicolon. Remember, there is no semicolon here. So far, whatever statements or whatever program we have written, all the statements in a program except a void main, we will be having the semicolon at the end of each statement. But remember, whenever we are writing the control statements, after that particular control statement, there is no semicolon here. Semicolon will be written only after the statement. Okay. So what happens here? If expression may be a condition like a greater than b, a less than b, a equal to b, etc., etc. Okay. So this may be true or it may be false. If this expression is true, then this particular statement will be executed. Else what happens is, we can write, for the understanding sake, we can write next statement. Next statement. So here, see, if expression, if this is true, then this particular statement will be executed. Then after executing this statement, anyhow, the control will be transferred to the next statement. So next statement doesn't come under if, it's a different statement. So the statement written after this particular if expression or after this particular control statements. What happens here? If this is true, we are going to execute this particular statement. If this is false, we are not going to execute this particular statement, control will be transferred to this. So this will be having, see, anyhow, whenever we are going to have a condition will be either true or false. Only two possibilities are there, either true or false. If it is true, or we can write like this, if it is true, control will be transferred to this particular statement, beginning of this particular statement. If it is false, the control will be transferred to the next statement. Remember, even if it is true, control will be transferred to this, then the control will be transferred to the next statement. Next statement will be executed anyhow, even if it is true or false. But if it is true, first we are going to execute the statement, then the next statement. If it is false, directly the control will be transferred outside the control, that particular control statement, and it will be transferred to the next statement. Right? Simple example we can have. See, or we shall draw the flow chart first, then we shall go to the example. Wherever you are having a condition or an expression which can be true or false, which particular symbol we are going to have in flow chart? That will be the rhombus, right? That will be rhombus. So here an entry, of course before this there will be statements, so we have to show that. Then if will be written as is. Remember that we won't write if inside the rhombus, that will be written as is. Is expression, question mark, which may be true or which may be false. If it is true, what we should do? If this is true, we have to execute the statement. So statement is a simple statement. Which symbol we have to draw? That is the rectangle. Draw the rectangle. You write it as statement. statement, draw the arrows always. If it is false, directly the next statement, isn't it? If it is true, after executing the statement, next statement we have to execute. So in both the cases, of course, we have to execute this one, but in case of true, after executing the statement, we have to write this one. That's why we shall write it over here. That is next statement, next statement, next statement. If it is true, we have to execute the statement. If it is false, directly execute the next statement. But after executing the statement also, we have to execute the next statement. That's why I combine these two and connect that to this one and show the arrows. Flowchart without arrows is meaningless. That's why I show the arrows. So if it is true, write that. If it is false, mention that also. So if it is true, statement, then the next statement. If it is false, directly to the statement. If it is false, this will come this way. If it is true, it will come this way. Isn't it? That's about simple if statement. We shall consider one example. Let us assume that if you are going to purchase something, if the amount greater than 1000, then we are going to get a discount of 8%. If you are going to purchase something where the amount is greater than 1000, then there will be a discount of 8%, not otherwise. If it is 900 also, there won't be any discount, isn't it? So in that case, what to do? One of the variable is amount, which we need to input amount. One more is discount, isn't it? So one more we can write as discount or DIS, or discount itself you can write. Discount we have to calculate. So according to the calculation, see, if amount we are going to input, discount we are going to calculate. Discount will be 0 if it is lesser than 1000, right? So we can write, if the amount is greater than or equal, we shall include, right? So what we should, how to write? So here we can mention, initially we can take discount is equal to 0. Of course, full program we are not going to write, only that part we are going to understand. Discount is equal to 0. What we are going to input here? The amount. Amount will be inputted to the keyboard. Based on the amount that we have inputted, the discount will be calculated. That's why here, if, let's write here, see, it will be if expression statement. We shall write the statement below the expression. Of course, we can write it here, but we shall follow this one. It will be easy to understand. So here, what is the condition? If amount greater than or equal to 1000, discount will be calculated 8%, right? Discount is equal to 8% of the amount that we have inputted, isn't it? So 8% we can't write amount into 0.8, isn't it? 8% is what? 8% is 0.08. It's not 0.8. So what we can write here is discount is equal to amount into 0.08. Then what next? This is how much we are going to get discount. So total amount that we have to pay is total amount. Of course, this is the next calculation which we need not have now. Let us try to understand. Amount minus a discount. This will be calculated, and this is the amount that we have to pay to the shopkeeper. Okay, we shall concentrate on this part. So if expression statement, right? Of course, before this we are going to input the amount, we are going to declare the variables, etc., that we shall see later. Okay, this part we shall try to understand. The amount will be inputted. If the amount is greater than or equal to 1000, discount is equal to amount into 0.08. For example, suppose you input the amount as 1000, so discount is equal to 1000 into 0.08. Whatever value that we have inputted, of course, that's greater than or equal to 1000. If the amount that we have inputted is 900, so what happens? Already we have taken discount is equal to 0. If the amount greater than or equal to 1000, if you input the value as 900 greater than or equal to 1000, which will be false, so the control will be transferred to this one. So total amount is equal to amount minus discount. So this is not calculated. In discount, how much we have? We have 0. So 900 minus 0 will be the total amount, because the amount has not reached 1000. If it is 1100 rupees, if the amount, now what it is, 1100, 1100 is greater than 1000, so discount will be calculated. 1100 into 0.08, whatever answer you are going to get will be stored under discount. Then total amount is equal to 1100 minus calculated discount will be deducted from that, and that will be stored in total amount. Now after that we can display the value of total amount. Okay. One more simple example we shall see. Suppose there are two values, two numbers, A and B. We want to find out larger of two numbers. Larger of two numbers. We shall write the program now. Entire program we shall write. But before writing the program, let us try to understand this one, how to write the program now, and how to write the if statement. See, here two numbers are there, A and B. We want to find out larger of two numbers, and we have only simple if expression statement. Then next one will be the next statement. Else part is not there, only if part. That's why we have to assume something. Let us assume that, say here the value of A is equal to 5 and value of B is equal to 10. We want to find out larger of two numbers. What we can write? How to write this one now? We have to assume that one of the value is large. Some assumption has to be done when we have two values using simple statement, simple if statement. So here we shall assume that, so variables are A, B and large. Now we shall assume that large is equal to A. Just one assumption. Then we shall write if B greater than large. In large what we have? The value of A. Anyhow the value of A will be there in large. Now the large, our intention is to find out larger of two numbers. We have assumed that A is large now. Then we will compare B with the large. If B is greater than large, that means automatically if B is greater than A, then we shall write large is equal to B. In this case, let us see what happens. What we have taken, a is equal to 5. So in large, how much we will have? We will have 5 in large. Then if b, what is the value of b? It's 10. 10 greater than large. 10 greater than, in large what we have? 5. This is true, isn't it? So what happens now? Since this is true, large is equal to b. In large what we had earlier? 5. But what we have right now? Large is equal to b. In b what we have? 10. So what will be the value of large? It will be 10. Isn't it? It's one of the case. Other case, instead of a is equal to 5, b is equal to 10, if we take a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 5, what happens now? Let us say, in large is equal to a, don't change it here now, let it be the same, large is equal to a. In a, how much we have? It's 10. If b, what is the value of b? b is 5. 5 greater than large, in large what we have? 10. Is this true? This is false. If this is false, will it be executed? This particular statement, the syntax we know, if expression statement. Statement will be executed only if the expression is true. Here the expression is false. So since this is false, we are not going to execute this one. So what is the value of large now? It remains the same whatever we had stored earlier. Earlier we have stored the value of a as large. In large we have 10. Since this is false, if you display the value of large here, that will be 10 itself. We have not written the value of b in large. Hope this is understood. Right? So some assumption has to be done in case of simple if. In the previous example also we have written discount is equal to 0 even if it's not mentioned. Right? Only if it is greater than 1000 or equal to 1000, the discount will become 8%. Similarly here, we have assumed that large is equal to a. Now how to write the program? How to write the program? Let us see. First we have to write the header files. Header files we have to write. Hash include iostream dot h, one of the header file which is required to input and output. For input we are using cin, to output we are using cout, isn't it? When we write cin and cout, if you do not include this particular header file, it won't work. Cin and cout won't work. Similarly, we will write one more header file, hash include conio.h. Some statements like clear screen to clear the screen, whatever output we had for the previous programs, that will be there. And in order to clear its contents, we will use clear screen. To use clear screen or get ch, we need to include one more header file, that's conio.h. Then we shall write void main, which is the main program for us, and the program starts from here after writing the flower brackets. Then which are the variables now? The variables that we had were a, b and large. Let us take these variables as integers for our convenience. So the data type of this will be integer. That's why we shall write int a, b and large and semicolon, statement terminator. What next? We are going to find out the larger of two numbers. So these two numbers has to be inputted and this will be calculated. After calculating this value, we are going to display that. So initially we need to input two variables a and b, and large will be calculated. Don't think that all three values will be inputted. No, large will be calculated based on a and b, isn't it? So cout is to display a message, enter values of A and B. This is just a message. Nothing will happen from this. After looking at this, we will come to know that we have to input two values, A and B. So through the keyboard, we are ready to input, isn't it? But it should take the values. That's why we have to write Cin A. One more variable is there, so immediately we can't write. We have to write this particular symbol. Wherever we are having more than one variable, we need to include this particular symbol using Cin statement. Now what will happen? We are going to input two values, A and B. Now go for the calculation. Calculation is, of course, assumption large is equal to A. Then if B greater than large, what happens? Large is equal to B. Now we shall display the value of large. Cout larger value is equal to, close the quotation, this is the message. Now include the variable, that's a large. Remember, wherever you are using a message and a variable, of course the message will be written within double quotation. After closing the message, directly we can't write the variable, we need to include this particular symbol, that is output symbol, isn't it? Insertion and extraction, of course, we have seen in the previous chapter, right? Cin and Cout. When we are using Cin statement, which particular symbol should be used? When we are using Cout, which particular symbol will be used? Cin in case of Cin and in case of Cout. Of course, whenever we are having message as well as the variable, between those two also we have to include that particular symbol. Similarly, whenever we are having more than one variable, in between two variables, we need to include that particular symbol. After that, you can close the bracket. We have opened the main flower bracket here and we have closed the main flower bracket here. Except these two, suppose you have set of statements inside the flower bracket, that will be called as a complex or block. But this is opening and closing of main function void main. Okay, that's about simple if. So in case of simple if, always remember there will be some assumptions, because only one if expression statement. Whenever we are having two values or two variables, one of the variable has to be stored in one more variable. For example, large is equal to A with some assumptions. After this, we are going to have if else, that is if else. We shall study about if else in the next class. That's all. Thank you.